All right, let's just jump right in. Forget everything you thought you knew about global power. The old rules, the ones written by armies and central banks, yeah, they're being completely rewritten. Today, there's a new battle being fought, not with missiles, but with minerals, not with bonds, but with bauxite. It all comes down to controlling the actual, physical stuff that makes our world go round.
So that brings me to a kind of weird question. What on earth does a frozen tuna, the kind you get in super fancy sushi, have in common with a nuclear power plant? Sounds crazy, right? But the answer, well, it tells you everything you need to know about this new global game.
It's simple. They're both weapons, potent weapons in this new scramble for global dominance. See, we're stepping into a whole new era. We're controlling physical commodities, and I mean everything from luxury goods to the fuel for our energy grid is the ultimate lever of power. Okay, so let's break down the first play in this new global playbook. We're calling it the stockpile strategy. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's all about strategically hoarding stuff to totally control the market.
And to kick things off, let's look at a really surprising example. Mitsubishi. Turns out they control almost 40% of the bluefin tuna market. And get this, it's not just by fishing, it's by stockpiling it. They've got these gigantic freezers, we're talking minus 60 degrees Celsius, just packed with tuna. So when the market supply gets tight, what do? They can just open the doors, release a little bit, and boom, they set the price. It's a total masterclass in controlling a luxury market.
So you see, a strategic stockpile, this isn't your grandma's pantry, just saving for a rainy day. No. These reserves are active tools. They're used to shape policy, to shield a country from shocks, and yeah, even to wage economic war.
But look, this strategy goes way beyond high-end fish. The exact same logic is being scaled up, way up, to something far more fundamental. Something every single one of us needs to survive. Food.
Just look at this number. Seriously, China is holding more than half of the entire planet's wheat reserves. Let that sink in for a second. More than every other country combined. That gives them a mind-blowing buffer against any kind of global food crisis.
And it's not just wheat. It doesn't stop there. They also have a stranglehold on about 70% of the world's corn. Now, this isn't just about making sure their own people are fed. This is about pure geopolitical leverage. Think about it. By perfectly timing their purchases, or even just canceling a few big orders, they can send global prices into a nosedive. And that hurts farmers everywhere, from Australia all the way to America.
Okay, so this brings us to the next play, the evolution of the strategy. I mean, it's one thing to hoard resources you buy from other people, but it's a whole other ballgame to build a fortress around the stuff you already have, right under your own soil, right? And that is the nationalist playbook.
And for this one, Indonesia is the poster child. Their strategy was so simple, but wow was it bold. Step 1, they just flat out banned all exports of raw nickel ore. Done. Step 2, this move basically forced companies, we're talking giants like Tesla and the big battery makers, to pour billions into building processing plants or smelters right there in Indonesia. And step 3? Well, that was the easy part. Just sit back and watch the money roll in.
And the rewards were, well, they were huge. This chart pretty much says it all. Their nickel export revenue absolutely skyrocketed, going from $3 billion to over $30 billion in less than a decade. That's a 10x jump. They figured out how to capture the value themselves instead of just, shipping valuable dirt overseas for someone else to profit from.
And you better believe other resource-rich countries were watching and taking notes. The Democratic Republic of Congo, home to most of the world's cobalt, they're now banning exports from the smaller artisanal mines. China, they've put restrictions on key minerals needed for semiconductors. And Guinea basically just told mining companies, look, build your refineries here or you can pack your bags. The message could not be clearer. The old model of just digging stuff up and shipping it out, it's over. It's dead.
So, what's the checkmate move in this global resource chess game? It's when these nations realize they don't have to go it alone. They start teaming up. This is what we're calling the cartel power-up, and honestly, it has the potential to completely flip the board and rewrite all the rules.
And we're already hearing the whispers, rumors of powerful new alliances forming in the shadows. You've got the Lithium Triangle countries in South America. They're talking about forming a lithium OPEC. You have Russia and South Africa floating the idea of a pact to control palladium, which is essential for cars. But maybe the most worrying one is the revival of an old ghost from the 1970s, a potential uranium cartel.
I mean, just look at the concentration of power we're talking about here. Just 3 countries, Kazakhstan, Russia,
and a newly empowered Niger, together they control over 60% of the world's uranium supply. If those three decide to formally team up, they could basically set the price of nuclear fuel for the entire planet. Talk about leverage.
All right, so let's take a step back and look at the scoreboard for a minute. What are the real consequences of this new game? Who's winning, who's losing, and what does this new map of global power even look like?
For the nations actually playing this game, it's really a double-edged sword. On the one hand, the payoff is huge, right? You get control over prices, you get more national sovereignty, but the risks? Oh, they are just as real. Markets are smart. They adapt. Companies might just innovate their way out of the problem and start designing batteries that don't even need nickel or cobalt. And if you push too hard, that investment capital can just pack up and leave, leaving you sitting on a pile of resources that nobody wants to buy anymore.
And this all leads us to the new geopolitical math. And the contrast here, it is just stark. You've got the US and its allies on one side, and they are critically dependent. I'm talking importing over 80% of more than 50 strategic minerals. And then you have China, who has brilliantly positioned itself as the world's refinery. They process something like 90% of rare earths and 65% of battery metals. That's not just a dependency, it's a massive strategic vulnerability.
Look, the old era of just-in-time global supply chains, of passively exporting your commodities, that's over. It's gone. We're living in a new world now, one where physical assets are king. And the nations that get this, they're not just suppliers anymore. They're rivals. They're the new rule makers. Because in the 21st century, the logic is brutally simple. Control the resource, you control the rules. And if you control the reserves, you control the future.